This is our operations meeting for Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. David, would you do roll call, please?
Yes. Ruth Dries.
Here.
Michael Zaslow.
Here.
John Gregg. Joyce Reese.
Yes.
Don Hess.
Here.
Bobby Levin.
Here.
David Cornett.
Here.
Fausto Fabro.
Here?
David Boas. Patricia Caputo.
Nope,
Tom Garnagia.
nope,
Stuart Richland.
nope,
Joanne Robinson.
Here.
Jerry Sutowski.
nope.
Donald Foster.
Here.
Quorum established.
Thank you. I know everybody, while they were sitting around, read the minutes.
Yep.
I will accept the motion to accept the minutes by David Fornes, seconded by Johns.
Okay.
John 1 and John 2. Any corrections to the minutes? Are there any corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will be accepted as presented. Okay. Miss Monica, you're up.
Thank you, Fausto. Good afternoon, everybody. First report that we're looking at this morning is the statement of operations for the 2 months ended December 31st. For the month of December, we had total revenue of $570,000. Our total expenses were $665,000, so we have a loss of $94,000. For the 2 months, total revenue is $1,133,000. Total expenses $1,180,000, so we have a loss for the 2 months of $46,000. For those 2 months, we had actually budgeted a loss of $65,000, so we have a positive variance of $18,000. At the bottom is your social activity summary. During December, for your theater and dance revenue, we collected $24,319. For your theater dances and movie expenses, we spent $24,754. So we only had a loss of $435. For the 2 months, your theater and dance income was $42,822. We spent $48,883, so we have a loss of $6,061, which is a positive variance of some $6,800 because we had budgeted a loss of almost $13,000 for those 2 months. Any questions? The next report is your cash balances. As of December 31st, our total operating funds were $644,000. Our windstorm deductible reserves were $1,039,000, and our contingency and infrastructure improvement reserves were at $394,000. So our total reserve funds is $1,433,000, and our total available cash $2,076,619. The next report is your social activities profit and loss report, and this is for the month of January. We had one show cancellation during January, but for the entire month there was 4,101 tickets sold to your theater performances. Our gross sales were $56,332. After we deduct the related audience view costs and sales tax, our net sales were $49,858. We paid the performers $61,850. So unfortunately for the month we have a loss of $11,991. Your Friday night dances, 930 people attended your dances. We paid $1,855 for your dances. For your movies, we had 1,025 people attending your movies. We spent $1,391. So between your theater performances, your Friday night dances, and your movies, for the month, we have a loss of $15,237. Any questions? Okay. Excuse me, the next report is also through the end of January. This is your Estoppel results. We continue to see low numbers of sales that are occurring in this community. Year to date, for the 3 months, we've only had 74 units that have been sold here. And for the same period in the prior year, there were 115 units sold. So that's a decrease of 41 units, or 36%. We collected $15,620 from our Estoppel revenue, and compared to the prior year, we collected $24,940. So we're down $9,320 from the previous year. And this, yes, John?
Do you keep track of how many units are for sale? You don't, do you?
I do not.
I'm just curious.
You know, there's so many realtors out there.
Yeah, I know. I was just curious.
Yeah.
I mean, when you go from 26,000 to 105,000, they tend not to sell as quick. Yeah.
That's true. Well, I don't think there's near as much inventory out there. I mean, that's what I keep hearing.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing the same thing. It's not just in this community. It's in all 3 of our communities. The same thing is happening.
They're holding on to them. I guess they're, I don't know.
Yeah.
I had a lady in my building, I'm sorry, that's another story,
Okay.
you know, sorry.
That's okay. Yes,
When
Joyce?
talking about prices, maybe it was just luck of the draw. A friend of mine had a first floor, quarter apartment, hadn't done that much to it, sold it first day for $300,000.
When?
A couple weeks ago. The North Elkhorn, you probably remember her. Store that had a walker, you always let her in the back door. Wellington D. I just
Wow.
thought that was interesting.
Good for her. Okay. Anything else before we go to the next report? This report is your revenue collected from guests, and this is also through the end of January. For the 3 months, your box office sales to residents were $63,821. Box office sales to guests were $37,690. So the split between sales to residents versus guests is 63% residents, 37% guests. And interestingly enough, I kind of freaked Miss Abby out because I decided to compare it to the prior year for the same 3 months. And there's a huge decrease of $26,000 in resident purchase tickets for the 3 months, November, December, January. Yet there's an increase in tickets sold to theater shows sold to guests of some $9,400. So I sent this report to Abby over the weekend, and she got really, really nervous and upset, and she's, oh my gracious, am we blowing my budget? I know she's been very concerned that your theater ticket sales have not been coming in as she had hoped, but I was able to show her that for the first 3 months, our revenue from your theater, your sales, from your theater sales is at $88,000 for the 3 months. And sitting in our, what I call our deferred bucket, which is theater tickets that have been sold, but the performances haven't occurred yet, so we've not recognized the income. Okay, sitting in that bucket of money is $73,000 at the end of January. So if you add that $73,000 of tickets sold for performances that take place after January 31st, we're already going to exceed our budget for your theater income for the entire year. So she's not near as concerned. But I can't explain why, I mean, I don't know why there's such a huge decrease in the number of sales for the 3 months versus an increase in guest tickets being sold.
Well, we've been running about 24-25% guests, and we're up to 37. So we have more outside people coming in here than
That's
residents
apparent.
attending. That's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
David?
Much closer to 32% sales to outside. It's always about 1/3 since I've been here.
Well, these numbers are coming straight from the
No, I'm saying
reports
in
for
prior
audience
years,
view.
It's always been about
Oh,
between
it's,
30, about 33%, and that just about 1/3 of the sales were.
and it's ticking up now. So when it comes to we can continue across so we can finish this report. When it comes to the number of tickets sold, 5,131 tickets sold to residents, 2,423 sold to guests, for a total of 7,554. Included in those box office sales to guests, which is strictly $3 added to the regular ticket price, that amounts to $7,269 that we collected. We also sold gate passes in the ID office totaling $9,066, and additional guest passes sold in the staff office for $3,800. So total revenue generated from guests for the 3 months is $20,145. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Dan, ID office.
Okay. Good
Just in
afternoon,
time.
everyone. I was timed that perfect.
I heard you
Okay.
were bringing lunch.
I was swallowing it down. Okay, ID office. We are at the stages of right now is we're rebuilding an build-out process right now. They're putting in tile, sheetrock right now, finishing the walls, and then tiling after we're finished up there. After we get said and all done, between the remediation that we had to do inside there was 9,576. We had an HVAC cleaning of the ductwork inside there, it was about 1,900, and the build out is about $11,200. And that is the sheetrock that they have to put back on the walls, the tile floors that we're putting down inside there, and I think it was ceiling tiles, okay? Just because of the humidity factor that was inside there was mold, and we just wanted to eliminate everything, to have it dried out 100% so that we could get it back to working conditions, so no more complaints from the residents and our employees.
Excuse me, is that what, was it mold? That was what the whole reason? Because initially.
It was, I don't like, the word, when it was brought out to me, yes, it was a smell, they
Right.
were complaining about. It was a high moisture level inside there. And when we dried it out, you can tell the difference now in the air quality inside there. So definitely it was a very high moisture, which could present, and that's why we cleaned out the HVAC, all the cleaning of the ductwork, everything that was inside there that was, and we took out sections. There was areas of sheetrock that was on the front side of the wall over there in front of the clubhouse where it was moisture, and we removed that area and dried it out.
Thank you.
Do we have a date when you expect to open that again? I
Next
think-
month.
Yeah, sometime next month. It's going to take at least a week and a half for them to finish what they're doing.
So we're at about 21,000 plus the cost for air conditioning?
No, we are, everything in total, we're at 22,676.
Thank you.
Southampton, the only thing that I didn't ask that question on Southampton, when we were together, the drain. Did we get any word from the county on that?
Other
at
than
all?
they came in and jetted everything out, they could find.
Did we, find any other problems with that since they've done that?
Not that I know of.
So you've had no backup since they were there?
I meant to ask that, it's the only question that I have that was slowing everything down for closing it up, you know?
No, they definitely went in and jetted everything, but that solved the problem, and I don't know.
I don't think that I had any, haven't heard anything that was backing up, so we'll check on that. But that was a big issue, and I think the city resolved it. And did we ever find out also the piping that was coming from the other direction?
No.
Okay, all
I
right.
don't know what that is.
For those of you who don't remember,
We had a pipe that connected to a laundry room facility, we believe, in the Southampton Sea Building. So we were getting sudsy water. So that's what we've been investigating, and Donald was kind enough to jump in and help.
It helped because the city, the county, they paid for all that, and they needed to maintain that, you know, so that was your building, plus, we thought there was another line, we just wanted to verify that there was nothing else coming from someplace else that you might be paying for wastewater, you know.
But you haven't had any,
At this point, can you just find that out from, I'll let you know. Okay, my apologies, dropped the ball now, coming in, Southampton. But the build-out is, moving along. I know you're out there, you see it pretty much going through there. We've had inspections.
2 days a week, I see somebody there.
Yeah, there's inspections, 2 days a week. Well, depending on the inspections, you know, what we had, but, I think we had a little slowdown time there because we had some, I know that we had some stuff that we had to give the building department for. But I'm pretty sure right now that there should be flowing that pretty well. I'm gonna go there after I finish this meeting there to inspect it too, where they're at. We had some, you know what it was, is the ADA, that caused a little bit of the headache there, of the door entrance. That's what was causing us to get permission from the building department to, before we could close it up. Okay, I wanted to, well, before I get to the switchboard, well, might as well, it's a new business, if you want to do this one here. I didn't have it in here, but there's a culvert pipe that runs out from the old shuffleboard coils, that back area through there, and it's exposed right now, and it has a massive hole in it, you know? And it's probably a 2-foot culvert pipe, if I'm not mistaken.
is this connected to our storm drain system?
It's connected to the clubhouse storm drain system, yes,
Am I responsible for that?
if you want to be.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. I mean, I can call Anchor Marine, tell them to look
Well,
at
this
it.
is what we did, and it's what, I'm gonna
You did.
ask your permission. They're asking at least $3,200 to come out and evaluate.
That's it, that's their minimum per
Yeah.
diem now.
It's actually a lot cheaper than what I got from this other company that we use too. But at least to give us an idea, because if it's a replacement, it's gonna be a big cost. If we could line it, which I've done before, or
Yeah,
we could line it.
he shoves a PVC liner in, it lasts
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah, so if, for 35, 32 and change.
What is it, 24 diameter?
It's 24. Yeah. And I think it's important because I saw it, now that the water's low, I mean, it's completely rusted away at the end there. So they could at least cut that off and then check the rest of it out and make sure that it's okay so that we could reline it.
And where is the outfall again?
It goes on to the lake on the back side of the clubhouse. Right by the pool, on the back side of the pool and
Yeah, we've done
the handball
almost,
court.
yeah, it's behind the handball court.
almost all of the outfalls have been in line. There are still a few. We get to them as they rust out.
But you see how low the water is now in the lake, so this overpipe is not exposed that often until it gets that kind of.
Just reminded me, I'm gonna make a little field trip, go out and check them all.
Okay.
This might be a good time to do it.
Yeah, because everything's low.
When are you gonna start getting reclaimed water?
Today.
Today?
Yeah, they had some equipment problems.
I saw your email, yeah, okay.
So, last month I did talk about the switchboard. We have a preliminary cost, I still have another engineer that's gonna look at this, but we're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood, just to get the engineering, okay, for this, about $34,000. Okay, there's 3 phases to all that, okay? And the only thing is, that the cheapest cost is going this route, because what FPL is requesting of us, when we do put a separate meter to just put the mechanical room in there, but we leave the 4,000 amp switchgear. The transformer that they have in the back will not handle that capacity, so they want a load calculation, okay? And either put another breaker lower on this side so it doesn't over, we'll have 4,000, take 800 amps off of that. So that's an additional 800 amps they're thinking that we could put on with it. They don't want that.
And then give it to them.
Because they won't be able to handle it. And we did go through this when we actually were doing the service there. We tried to upgrade to, I don't know if some of you remember way back, Donald, when we did this, when we did the electrical, we did have the engineers evaluate that to see if we could actually bring it up to high voltage. But it was gonna cost us hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to change it from the transformer on the outside and see if we could get 480 in here, but that was not, it was too costly to do, you know? And what they calculated, if you remember, they calculated properly for the amperage of what we had. As we kept going on here, we put heaters, elements, we put heat pumps, so what I'm trying to do now is if we have to, we've given them a list of what we feel we're gonna upgrade to in the future, like heat pumps maybe for the resident pool, things like that, so that we could have the capacity to be able to do that, okay, on the switchgear. But the only good thing about it, switchgear is fairly new. So if they ask us to reduce the amperage to a certain amp, and let's say down the road, they want to upgrade that, then there's gonna be the cost of changing out that transformer that you gotta pay to FP&L to, but you have the capacity to do it, But right now, for the least expense is to just change over that 800 amp from the mechanical room, have a separate meter for it, and then the switch gear, we reduce whatever the amperage for 4,000 to 2,500 amps, okay? And then we could actually utilize that switch gear for anything else that we want to put up until we reach the 80% of the 2,500. I don't know if I explained that, but that's why the cost of this, the engineers, the FP&L, we talked to FP&L, that's what they're going to want them to do. Evaluate exactly what you have here, give them a load count, which we should. It shouldn't be that hard due to the fact we had the engineering from all the mechanical portion of it. He just has to go around, look at all the panels, get that whole thing from what we had last time, and make their calculations. But all these guys, they're a certain price and that's it,
Did I hear you right, Dan? It's gonna cost $34,000?
$35,000.
35
And 3 stages, yes.
for
There's
the engineering.
For the engineering.
Just the engineering.
Okay.
No way.
I have, let me see. Yeah, because phase 1, there's 3 phases. And I think they have it here, thank you, an assessment phase, a bidding phase, and a construction phase. Okay, so, and each one of them, 16,000 for the first one, 7,500 for the bidding phase, and then 7,500 or 10,500. Now we could talk this down. I have another bid coming in. Okay, so it's not something here. I just wanted to bring it to your attention where it's coming out, just to get the engineering. We're not going to do this until if we decide to do this next budget year. So, we've got to get it all together because we have equipment right now we can't put on, due to the fact that we left it off. We'll be okay when it comes to getting warmer weather, but because the heaters and stuff that we have going on will not work, will be turned off. So we'll get by until we have to get this all down packed and see exactly how much this is going to cost us.
I think that's it for you.
Hastings Lazy River,
Oh, yeah, that's right, one more.
you could take that one out. That's the pumping size. Oh, the Lazy River. What do you have on this?
I don't know, you asked me to put it on here, I don't know what.
We need to do engineering for the circulation, remember, it's obsolete.
Oh, okay, that's a budget item though. We'll bring that up. We'll bring that up in the budget.
We've been patching this year, we were able to get some old parts.
This is
still.
in the pool though, that we're talking about.
The resistance pool, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
But
we've
we'll-
been patching.
We're getting an engineer for that, trying to see what we can do. Bring it up to code
Question.
requirements.
Yes,
I don't know if this is the appropriate time. I have friends who use the lazy river, and there's been a lot of problems, people jumping in. I guess there's no way of stopping people from doing the wrong thing. Stupid thing.
should or is take the water out.
But it's ridiculous, I mean. Anyway,
You know, I'm rarely speechless, but this season and what I have faced and people's just thoughtlessness and whatever they think they can do, they do. They just, there's no code, there's no rhyme or reason to any of it.
it's happening all over here. Right.
It's been the worst season by far.
Before we go to anything else, I noticed that a lot of the geotubes have large rips in there, especially on South Drive. As you pass by the canal, I've seen some rips that, I mean, from the car, they look like they're a couple of feet wide.
Okay, I'm gonna do, now that it's a good time, because this is the first time they've been exposed like this.
Yes.
So we're gonna need to do those repairs, because if not, you're gonna dump that sand out of there, and we're gonna lose thousands and thousands of dollars of repairs afterwards, so.
That's why I'm bringing it
That's
to
an
you.
I appreciate, I didn't,
That's an anchor job too, right?
yes,
Yes.
that's no one did all this, so we need to get we'll do a walk around and drive around and see what we could, get together and get a price together for this. At least to patch it from the outside, it's an easy patch from the outside, but if it empties, we got big problems, you know, to try to
Even
fill
tell
that
them
back up.
about the AC condenser we found in the water.
I'm waiting for the bodies to start showing up as the water gets lower.
Where-
So there was an AC condenser, and Donald thinks that after a job, you know, the vendor just rolled it into the water.
Who knows
So-
how long ago?
Right, and so it was exposed, so our guys went, pulled it out of the water, they let it sit overnight so the water would drain, it wouldn't be so heavy to deal with, and then they tossed it, but yeah. Wouldn't it be great, like, to have an old pirate ship out there, right?
Well, it's not that deep out there, I think we got a 10-foot, 12-foot, something like that, maybe the most, 12 feet, you know? So, we'll be seeing some things probably we never saw before, if it keeps on getting drier, you know? Hopefully we get some rain, we need it, that's for sure.
Hey Dan, maybe we just call Anchor and have them do a survey of all of,
Yeah,
just come up with a proposal.
yeah, well,
Because we have no budget for this repair.
we need to, I'll definitely,
You want Asia to make the contact, or you
Well-
want me to?
if you have a good relationship with them, so let's get it together, because I gotta get them out there for the pipe, Tom, okay, so just let me know. If we wanna walk with them, I'm fine with that too, you know, whatever it is,
Do it now.
just so we see how many, areas that they actually mark out, you know?
Okay.
We'll spray them out or something like that while it's low, and it might be beneficial to get out there before it starts rising up, you know, 'cause
Exactly.
it's gonna be, expensive if we have to, if it's underwater, you know?
Okay.
It's just gonna wash away.
We used
Thank
to
you
have,
for bringing that up, we didn't see it.
yeah, we had 10,000 on the line, but when there were no repairs over so many years, we dropped it down to 2, and I think that's where we stayed.
Yeah.
Okay, pretty much, unless you have another, thank you again for bringing that up.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna touch on the topic of the outside sales for the theater, both Cypress Lakes and Golden Lakes. So Cypress Lakes was very excited, we've already got a liaison, and they're just raring to go. We're getting all the information ready, we're gonna hand it over to them so they can participate in the month of March. Let's see what that does. We've also set it up in the computer, you know, as CL and GL, so we'll know exactly where the sales are coming from, we'll be able to track it. Golden Lakes, lukewarm reception. I think, well, we have a lot of their residents coming anyway. But they are happy to take the pamphlets and hand them out, but right now there's no liaison. So we're just going to see how we're gonna work that. Probably phone sales, they're gonna just have to call us and do it that way. I also wanted to bring up something else, that we do get random phone calls in season from people just outside that are looking to be able to purchase. I don't know what the committee thinks about that. Do we just turn them away, or since there's potential, you know, revenue from that, do we want to entertain that? And should I include them or continue to turn them away? We've always turned them away.
Let's work on these two places
Okay.
first. Now, do either one have like an internal paper, like we have the UCO Reporter, they have any kind of a newsletter?
I think they do have a newsletter. Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe we could,
About Golden Lakes.
Well, both, we're approaching both. So, like I said, Cypress Lakes is just very excited, very hands-on, and Golden Lakes, they're willing to make it available for pickup, but I don't know that they're willing to do much more than that.
If they have some kind of publication, maybe
We'll
we can
ask
put a
them.
little ad in there
Mhm.
with a phone number to call. Say
Right,
if you're interested in theater, this is the
Mhm.
number to call.
exactly.
Golden Lakes has 2 clubhouses, two, right? But they do get the condo news. Everybody in the place gets the condo news, the one you have in the
Yes.
office,
Mhm.
you know, the flyer.
Mhm. So we could put something in there as well, make sure that we're covered.
But they have no individual paper. They have a flyer to stick up in the clubhouse. That's about it.
Well, we'll make them a sign and we'll hand it over and ask them to put it up on their bulletin board, whatever they call it, and see what we can do. We'll let them participate also in this summer. And then the really big difference will be for the next season. See what kind of a difference it makes to our sales.
So
Yes,
either,
David? Oh, I'm sorry. David, you had your hand up?
Yes. What is the price going to be for someone buying a ticket from outside?
It's going to be the regular price plus $3 guest fee. We can certainly raise it before I send this out, if that's something you want to do.
What about security and parking issues?
You know, that's a good question, because I've noticed that the medical building now turns out the lights at night. So that means that our residents or guests cannot park in their parking lot. So that's a real issue, and I don't know how we're going to deal with that.
Has there been a problem with parking this season?
Nothing that security has brought to me that people are parking in outlandish places, so we don't have that, but our attendance has been lower this season, so we don't have as many cars, but again, we're always running ads, begging people, we announce it as well, that they carpool, they take the bus, and if they're close enough to walk.
I was there Saturday night, I think there were over 800 people
We
Saturday
had over
night.
900, about
And the
954.
your security guards did great, getting in, getting out was fabulous, not a problem.
Good.
Thank you.
I don't know where they're all parking.
I didn't hear any complaints, and you know me with my mouth.
Okay.
John?
I don't think you need to worry about the parking until you start getting the people.
Right,
I
exactly.
mean, when you only have 500 people, 400 people for a show, you know,
But we had 800.
what I do is when I go to the show like that, if there's a big show, there hasn't been any this year or last year, but I used to drive my car up here and take the bus up here and then drive home, you
There
know.
have been big shows this year, we've had 800 and 900.
Yeah, that's the only show this year like
Two.
that.
Well, you know, the shows, we had certain shows we knew would be sellouts, and we have not had a sellout in this season.
That's right.
I don't even think we've broken 1,000, unfortunately.
That's the closest one.
Yes.
Really good show.
Well, you can sell out the parking lot faster than you can the auditorium.
Absolutely. I don't know what they were thinking when they gave us about 335 parking spaces, and before we redid the theater, what we had could hold 900.
Really? Wow.
So again, you know, but if you figure 2 people per car, you know, we were close, but now, especially now that people are moving in, they have 2 cars per unit. So we have a lot more vehicles, so, but nothing crazy, so.
Eva, has there been any discussion about how this will be handled at the gate for security purposes?
We're gonna have to come up with a list of names.
Mhm.
A
Okay.
list of names. You know, with Cypress Lakes, we're gonna want them to come and pick up the tickets to give to the residents so that they'll have that to show at the gates, which will get them in through the gates. But it'll be, I think on the safe side, we should, for everybody who buys tickets from those 2 communities, we should be creating a list for security.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, we'll tweak as we go. I'm sure there'll be situations that present themselves, we'll figure it out, but I think this is our future. that we're gonna be doing this, and after we solidify this with Golden Lakes and Cypress Lakes, that we'll reach out to other communities, see if they'd be interested.
No, it's true. I had friends in Baywinds who would have loved to come see the Jersey tennis. And I couldn't get them tickets for whatever reason, but they would have loved to come. Because those communities do not have many shows, and they charge like 50, 60. Well, you see, the Lyric Theater charges $50 a ticket.
Right.
People don't appreciate what we have here.
So it seems. So, I don't know, we've had such a turnover, and there's younger people, they're still working. They're not retired, so they just stay home, they're tired, or they still have their night vision, so they're out recreating outside of the village. That's absolutely the truth. It's as they age, and they don't go as far afield, that we get them here. Yeah,
Yes, David?
so.
What time are the outside people going to be permitted to come into the village? Well, the one that still was, as far as I know, if you would buy your guest, of course you had someone here had to buy it,
Yes.
and it was $3 more.
Mhm.
They could use that all day at the clubhouse or the facility. But if we're just selling it for a show, or are you just going to let? They have to have a time because there's no sponsor for them.
Correct. So, and we discussed this, the fact that the $3 technically gives them the use of the facility for the day, but that's not something we're gonna advertise, and it should only be for the evening. So the earliest they should be here would be between 6 and 7, that they would avail themselves and go into karaoke for an hour before they went into the show, and that would be it. Otherwise, it's the show and home. I'm not gonna advertise a full day at Century Village. Mm-mm. It's just evening.
Prior to the show.
Prior
2 hours
to the show.
prior to the show.
Yes. Yeah, and we're gonna let them know that they don't come at 10 of 8 and expect to find parking. You need to make sure you're on property, between 7:15 and 7:30 at the latest. And for a larger, more well-attended show, I would recommend 7. So these are all the things that we have to let them know so that they're prepared. We're gonna be giving them the rules, dress codes, no perfumes, all of that. They have to know all of that because they don't have a resident sponsor to give that information. So we've got all of that. We're putting that all together in a packet.
What time do you expect, or when do you expect to launch this again?
For March, month of March.
This next month?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Get them the information by Friday. So I don't expect, for that first show, that Saturday, which is the 1st, but the rest of the month, I hope that they'll step up in good numbers for us.
I really
We'll
hope
see.
that's
I don't see why
I
not.
think it's a great idea.
I think so too. Like I said, this is our future so that we can make a profit in the theater. So, anybody else have anything else on the topic of? Yes, John?
Say, whenever you hand out your tickets on the back, it's stamped the CV
Yes.
for being a pass,
Mm-hmm.
if they're just coming to the show, to change that to a different designation. So, like if you sell it from Cypress and they're coming in early and you show the ticket to get in, well, the stamp that you got on the back will designate that they're just coming for the show.
Right.
Rather, they can't come in at noon and show up and then no. 'cause
We talked about a stamp, one that would be GL, one that would be CL. We have to order those, otherwise we're just gonna write those in initially. And then if, like with Golden Lakes, right now, we don't have a liaison, so everything would go into will call and they'll have to pick up from will call. But as I said, we're gonna have to take all the names of the people that purchased tickets and create a list for security so they're not held up at the gates and make it easier for security, that they don't have a backup. So that's gonna be key. No? Anybody else? No? Okay. So the next thing is, John had asked me to put this on here. It's the north double doors to the main lobby. And so there's
Which way is north?
definitely.
I have my direction.
That would,
Thank you.
So anyway, there's a whole history here, because John's questioning whether or not repair, 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 do we replace? So I'm gonna give you the history here. So a while back, this company that handled Stanley doors was purchased by another company called Allegiant. We called in January when the door first started acting up for us. The tech arrived and Kevin spoke with them. He stated he needed a part to complete the repair. 2 weeks later, the tech had not returned. Kevin called again, and they notified him that they had closed the ticket. So Kevin asked them to open the ticket, and the tech from Allegiant has still not been on site. Called again for an update on services, still waiting for tech, and he is calling again today. So we've been chasing them. Clearly they have some issues, and we're just doing our best to work with them because they're new. The last time we got a proposal for a new door to replace those doors would be anywhere between $12,000 and $15,000. So right now, we're going to work with them and see if we can't get this repaired versus replaced. But since that was an old price, I don't even know how much those prices have gone up in the meantime. So Kevin's been babysitting it, and
What are they charging for your repairs or supposed repairs? They charge you to come out and look at it or not, or?
I don't think we've gotten any kind of a bill
Is it
from
under
them yet.
warranty?
We've gotten nothing from them because they've done nothing. We reported a problem, he came on site, it said he had to order a part, and that's where it stopped. So we've not seen anything. But they usually have a service call, I think it was about 125.
Give me $125 a month, I'll come by and tell you it ain't working. I'll do it for 50.
You stick with what you've got because you don't know what you're going to get.
Well,
That's the
You're not
thing.
getting much right now.
We're getting nothing right now.
I mean, Stanley done a good job when they had it, but they sold out.
They did.
What
Mhm.
kind of competition do they
Yeah.
have? Of what other vendors handle it, so.
Exactly. There's not a lot to choose from. We've lost certain vendors. Pool tables. We have the same vendor that serviced all the Century Villages. We had him for years. What a great guy. Such skill, such knowledge. He retires. We hire another company. They did a job for us that was not great. And I called him in to take a look and to test all the tables and tell us exactly what we needed to pinpoint and ask of this new company, which was young people, right? So he tells us exactly what it is that we need to tell them that we need to look at. And he stayed on site to watch over them, and they weren't even interested in questioning him, learning from him, didn't recognize what a treasure trove of information and knowledge he was. And this is what we're dealing with constantly. Constantly. We have some Formica work we need to do, cannot find a company to do Formica work. And they want the big jobs, they don't want this little patchwork where I'm gonna do a few tables, right? So can't get anybody. For years we've been looking.
Talking about getting people, I had a roofer that was working for a major company, and they were screwing up so many jobs. He was working on his own part-time to go back. He quit working for them, started his own company, and he was making more money following them, fixing their screw-ups.
Yeah.
So if you can find somebody who does Formica work, might put it in their ear that you can make as much or more just taking care of, nobody wants a small job.
Exactly.
Plenty of small jobs out there.
There is.
I have a question on the doors. The people that gave you the quote to replace the door, is it the same company or a different company?
No, that was prior to Allegiant buying out Stanley, this company. So that was prior. We have not gotten an updated price, but I don't think we need to do that. We just need someone who's gonna show up with the part, replace it, and I think we'll be fine.
And there's no other service company around that we can?
We're gonna have to, if we can't get them on board and get this resolved, this has been going on now for just about 2 months.
I think it's time that we look for somebody else.
Yeah? So-
They've had a couple of months.
Yeah.
Give somebody else a shot, if they can fix it, then call them and tell them, forget, we got it fixed.
I don't know at what point in January, so to say 2 months still, you have this problem, you're going back and forth for about 6 weeks. again, they're new, we're trying to work with them, but at some point, it's a good thing we have 2 other sets of doors.
No, that's, you know, helping effective board
I
door.
think 2 months is more than fair to, whether they're new or old.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think time is up. I think it's time to go look for somebody else.
Yeah. So,
And make sure that whoever we get, if we have to replace the door, also services the products. Because
Mhm.
today, nobody wants to work on anything.
I know,
Everything is replaced.
yeah.
So is all the standard doors under a different warranty now, or a repair procedure than since a new company took over? A new individual?
I have, listen, in that regard, I would think it stayed the same, then they have to still follow the same protocols.
State Stanley's basically nationwide,
Yes,
then you would just have individuals running the franchise.
correct. So I don't know the next nearest local franchise. We are having that issue as well. You know, they're coming further and further afield, and some of them are willing to come this far. You know, more of them are down south because it's denser population. So, we're just constantly looking.
I look for another vendor.
We are,
Okay.
we are.
All right. Anything else on,
I don't
Okay.
have anything.
do we have
else.
anybody for the good of the order? Do we have any questions? Daniel, you had a question? No? Okay. Yes, John.
I make a motion, we abandon this place.
You want to adjourn?
Adjourn.
Okay, thank you.
Adjourn. Thanks, everybody.